Hey big family, it's Jonathan with the Soundstage. Winter is upon us. It's the coldest winter in Beijing in 30 years, which brings us to this episode's band, ALPINE DECLINE. Now, China has over 1 billion people, and many of them have moved abroad to live their lives. They're known in Chinese as Huaren. This episode features a Huaren for the first time. It's about her and her husband who met and performed music together and fell in love in Los Angeles, California, United States of America. And just recently, they moved here to Beijing. We're gonna find out why, and we're gonna listen to their music right here on CRITheSoundStage.
We're constantly in a state of shock at how hard sometimes living here can be. That intensity of daily life is definitely easier to channel than when you're drinking margaritas in Los Angeles. We played in LA together in different bands for forever, for a really long time before stepping back from the LA music scene and making ALPINE DECLINE, crafting it into the band that we were going to spend the rest of our lives making music with. After this year, this crazy year of making all these records, we really felt like it was time to push away, to get away from not just the LA scene, but really any kind of scene. And we thought we would just pick the most far out, far away, strangest place we could, and just live in our bubble and just really see how far we could take this. And Beijing seemed pretty far out. It seemed like a pretty good place to try that experiment. When we met, I was 20 years old, just looking for a band to play in. I had a guitar, I had amps, and I had no one to play with. And at that time, Pauline was in a different band and needed a guitar player, fortunately for me. So we played in that band and different mutations of that band for years, for 6-7 years before that disintegrated. And when that fell apart, we had already started to have a connection, making music and spending time together outside the band. And we were really ready to develop that with 100% of our attention.
My father is from Shandong, and my mother is from Zhejiang. So I'm Chinese, but I was born in LA, so...
She's not just Chinese, she's Chinese. Yeah.
I'm Chinese, yeah. Chinese-American Chinese.
Chinese-American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like a lot of, kids who, grew up probably in the same way, as I did. My parents spoke it at home, and that was their first language, so they were more comfortable speaking Chinese to us, but I think like us kids usually spoke English back and wasn't really interested in learning Chinese, but as I got older, I started getting more interested in learning Chinese and studying Chinese.
What changed? What made you interested?
I don't know. I think growing up, you just want to be like all the kids around you, so you just kind of want to be American, and that didn't include learning Chinese. But as I got older, I kind of, I guess learned to appreciate, my culture and background a little bit more. So that's where the interest started.
I spoke no Chinese when we moved here, so it wouldn't have been a practical possibility. Or I guess we could. I mean, a lot of people do it, but I'm not sure we would have up and done it if Pauline didn't speak Chinese. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But now we think maybe it's a detriment because it impedes your Chinese learning.
We need to discuss my Chinese. Things are just constantly developing at a crazy pace, and that includes in the music scene. And I think that as the city grows and as the culture and the music scene grows and more people come from other countries and more local Chinese are going to other countries to play shows, that kind of thing helps the community, and it also has its detriment. I mean, having a big music scene like LA is not always a good thing. Sometimes the best music communities come from these really smaller pockets. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Beijing, the music scene is becoming, a viable music center, just like any big city anywhere else. And if anything, well, I think everybody that comes here from Europe, from America, they're just blown away. When we wake up in the morning, when we step outside, there's just a rush of things and experiences and ways of living that are just so, they're still so real fresh to us. And I don't know how that changes the longer we live here, but it's got this feeling, especially in Beijing, of just total freedom. Just that sounds really contrary to what some people might expect or think, but it feels like the Wild West, where everybody suddenly has a sense of possibility of going out and getting their own. And I think that that's something that really terrifies us, this feeling of everybody going and trying to obtain and achieve and succeed. But it also creates an atmosphere where, as people who don't live our lives that way, we feel like we've walked into, you know, some like dusty, like spaghetti western town where people all around us are just, where everything is just free and somewhat dangerous and somewhat exciting, and the highs are highs and the lows are lows. So.